All right, Tales from the Octagon is returning with the aptly titled, very imaginatively titled, Tales from the Octagon 2. I will be there, of course, but also I'll be joined on stage by the one and only Tom Aspinall and Big Paul Craig, talking about their stories, their backgrounds. We'll be having a laugh. We'll be having a few drinks. Come along, enjoy it. Meet us. Manchester, London, December 14th, December 16th. Last time they were absolutely sold out. Thank you all for being there. Tickets are available right now. On sale, myticket.co.uk. See you there.
Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the f*** up.
You're listening to Believe You Me with Michael the Count Bisping and Anthony Lionheart Smith.
Your room doesn't look too bad, Anthony. You're at the Palace Station.
I am. I'm at the Palace. I got a handicap suite though. So she said, "Do you want two queen beds or one king that's a handicap suite?" I'm like, "You give me that big one. Give me that big one."
Give me that big one. The Palace Station. I think I've talked about this many times, so I'll keep it short. I spent many a time there, many a time. Christmas Day, 2006, by myself. Had Christmas Day lunch, dinner at the Palace Station buffet. I recommend it highly. It was the most miserable by myself. Christmas Day, because my team that I was with at the time. Bunch of fucking jokers. I went out by myself and they went, you go out, get acclimatized. We're coming. Every day I'd be on the phone and be like, all right, so you coming? Yeah, we'll be there tomorrow. We've booked our flights, coming tomorrow. Next day, coming tomorrow. Next day, or something's happened. We'll be there tomorrow. This went on and on and on until eventually no one came. So I had no team. And then two random Brazilians that they knew came and cornered me. So Christmas Day, I did it by myself. Still went out there and kicked ass, though. UFC debut. UFC
normal
66.
shit.
UFC 66. My God, that is making me sound old. Welcome to the show, everyone. First off, apologies for no show on the last two events. We're not going to get into it, but Harrington and Brian fucked us off. We're not going to get into it. We're not going to throw any shade. But
this one was not our fault. This was not.
They got bigger fish to fry. You know what I mean? Yeah, we know where the loyalty lies.
More important podcast, more important shit to do.
Yeah, it is. I remember when we used to be someone. I mean, right now, we couldn't even get a producer. You're in the handicapped suite. Our pets' heads are falling off. My God. Talking of things falling off, Dillon Danis, Logan Paul. That's doing the rounds right now. That apparently that fight is off. Dillon came out. I'll let you speak in a second. I'm hogging it. Dillon came out, said, that's it, I'm out. Because there was a video of Logan and Jake talking about the lawsuit. And then Mike Perry put a video out saying, I'm in. And then now Dillon comes back and says that he's not out. What are your thoughts on these shenanigans?
Well, I think it's just that. It's just shenanigans. Who actually knows when it comes to Dillon? Like, is he going to fight? Is he not going to fight? Who knows it?
Who cares?
A little bit. Like, I actually would care more about Mike Perry, Logan Paul, if I'm being honest. I think that's a more intriguing fight for me because Dillon can't fight. That's what I don't get. Like, out of all of this stuff, he is a phenomenal jiu-jitsu guy. I'll give him his props on his grappling and jiu-jitsu pedigree all day, but he's not like a fighter, and he's even less of a boxer. So, it's the weirdest thing to me anyways, why that's the piece that keeps getting missed. Like we're talking about, is he going to show up? Is he doing this? They got this press conference. Like, he can't fight. So I don't know why it's a big deal, but Mike Perry can. And that's intriguing to me.
Mike Perry really can. I mean, Dillon Danis, there was some footage of him came out recently. He was hitting pads. Not impressive, but again, he's not a striker. He had two fights in Bellator, I think it was. Quick submissions. God bless him. Good for him. But he's not a fighter, to your point. He's not a well-rounded mixed martial artist, and he's sure as hell not a boxer. Mike Perry, because of his run in the UFC, he lost quite a lot of fights because he's not a well-rounded mixed martial artist, but he is a banger. Do you know what I mean? And it goes down to he's got hands. I mean, look what he did, and this is perfect. And I hope it comes off for Mike Perry's sake. I really do. One, because he might knock out Logan Paul, which will be, I've got nothing against Logan Paul, but I think we can all agree that might be nice to see. Goes to the bare knuckle. He's won 3 fights, beat Michael Venom Page, and also beat Luke Rockhold.
Those are 2 good wins.
But what have they got in common? they're tall.
Yeah.
Logan Paul's taller than him. Everyone's like, oh, Logan's too big. Well, he beat he beat Michael Venom Page, and he beat Luke Rockhold.
Luke Rockhold's a pretty big dude.
Pretty big dude.
He's bigger than Logan Paul for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure, without question.
Yeah, that's I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a fucking hater, but I would rather see that fight than. I mean, I really don't know that I have anything against Dillon Danis these days. Like he pops off on Twitter once in a while talking shit, but like I don't know that I have anything against him. I'm sure he's a lovely person if you were just to sit and chit chat with him, but it wouldn't be bad to see him get beat up either. But then like if that happens, then Logan Paul wins, and that's not great either. So
well, you know what, to be honest, I don't know Dillon and I don't know Logan, right? And they might be absolute sweethearts. They might be real nice guys. I will say that Dillon, fair play, he is the ultimate troll. Do you know what I mean? In terms of getting people to, think that the fight's off and this, that, and the other, all the stuff he pulled with Logan's girlfriend, you know what I mean? He is the ultimate troll. And make of that what you will. I don't know if that's something to aspire to. For me, I aspire for greatness, Anthony. Trying to be the best in the world, be a great provider for my family, and give my kids the life I never have. If he wants to be the ultimate troll on Twitter, then God bless him. Take it. Have it.
I wish we could get them both on, because I'd love to like have a conversation with both of them. Like, what are you guys doing? What are we doing here?
Dillon was hitting me up so many times because I now and again I do a live on my YouTube channel, and Dillon would show up in the chat all the time, and I knew it was Dillon because he would DM me on Instagram. So I'd be going back and forth with the comments he'd leave, and everyone's like, "It's not Dillon." I'm like, "It is Dillon," because I'm getting the messages. So he was gonna come on here many times. And then like for one reason or the other, probably because he's the ultimate troll, it never happened. But I'll reach out and see if we can get him on for Monday's show. That would be good. Right, don't unsubscribe right now, ladies and gentlemen. We've got real things to talk about. Mixed martial arts and fights this weekend, of course, as well. Anthony's in the handicap suite, but he hasn't got a handicap brain. Did you enjoy the little bit of downtime, the little BYM hiatus?
No, I don't. And my Twitter mentions don't either. The people are pissed. And I wanted to just tweet and be like, listen, this one's Harrington. This one's not. There has been times where it's me or it's you and our schedules don't match up, or one of us is in a different country or whatever. But this one I will not take credit for. But no, I like doing these.
Yeah. Okay. Should we talk a little MMA, I guess, right now? Not the notes that Harrington put in because, he's talking about potential stuff that I know for a fact isn't happening. So we won't do that. We won't do a Dillon Danis on you. But we'll throw this one out there. Islam Makhachev this week, talking about that if, and more than likely, I would say that if he defends against Charles Oliveira, wants to fight Colby Covington next. Or Leon Edwards, but he would prefer Colby Covington because he's a wrestler, so it would be the Dagestani wrestling versus the USA wrestling and all the rest of it. Thoughts on that statement in terms of the fight itself, chances of it happening, chances of him beating Charles Oliveira. Of course, Colby's got to beat Leon. There's a lot to dissect. What say you, Mr. Smith?
Well, I think anyone who collects pay-per-view points wants to fight Colby Covington. I mean, that's I think that goes without saying. I also think that Colby's probably the easier fight for Islam. It's a wrestler versus a wrestler. Colby's not known for being a power striker. I think Leon has shown the ability to shut anybody off. He can knock people out. He's fast. He's got decent takedown defense. He's powerful. It's just a tougher fight
huge.
And he's big. He's really big. So, excuse me. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. As far as this fight with Charles, that's a task in itself you have to get through. So I'm interested in that fight really because I want to see the adjustments that Charles made. Like he can't go in, he can't fight his normal fight style and beat Islam. He has to change his game. And Islam doesn't. Islam can just do what he already does. Spend his training camp focusing on getting better where he's already good, close up any holes. But for the most part, Islam can just do what he already does. Charles is the one that has to make the adjustment. So I'm really interested in that matchup.
If you were coaching Charles, what would the advice be? Because from my perspective, and you're absolutely right, fully agree. You know, the adjustments have to be on the side of Charles. But that's the great thing about Charles, and that's what makes him so exciting, because it's almost like he fights without a game plan. Renato Moicano was saying that recently when he came on the show. He just believes in himself and his ability and his toughness and his skills, and he just goes at them. And it's brilliant and it's beautiful, but also sometimes he gets caught. I mean, now granted at 145, he lost quite a few times, but that was the wrong weight class. Went on that epic, I think 11 fight win streak, mainly all stoppages as well. But going at Islam the way that he did, you can't do that. I mean, he did do it in the next fight against Beneil Dariush, just straight away, walked him down. You know, if he does that against Islam this time, then I think we've got a good chance of seeing the exact same thing. I think early he's got to try and maintain the distance, keep the range, use straight shots. You know, if he gets taken down, attack leg locks, because that'll create a scramble so he can get back to his feet. But the ultimate thing is he's got to control his emotions and stick to a fundamental game plan.
Yeah, if I was coaching Charles, I would want him to back off on his aggressiveness just a little bit. Like, just pull your foot off the gas just a tad. Because honestly, Charles' game isn't built to win decisions. It's just the way he chases it. What is it? Mike Tyson said, if you're chasing a finish, you'll never win a decision. He just doesn't. The pace. Say what?
Final.
Yeah, it's final. The way that he fights, it's not cohesive for a 5-round title fight. Like you can't keep that pace that he fights at for 25 minutes. So I'd want him to focus on winning rounds. Like, I think it's a mentality thing. It's not necessarily a skill set thing. If he could focus on winning rounds and less about trying to get a finish as fast as he can and being super aggressive and overwhelming people, just work on winning the position that you're in. So keep your distance. If you're going to wrestle or want to grapple at all, if I was him, I would do it from the clinch, because I think that's where his advantage is. He's so good at climbing around, sneaking around to people's backs from the clinch. He's got really good knees there. It's easier to defend a takedown, especially with him being tall. I think he'll have a better chance of defending takedowns from the clinch, you know, using his underhooks and getting to body locks. And he's not going to take Islam down. It's just, that's just highly unlikely. No way. So but I do think he can get to some clinch stuff. He can get to some body lock stuff and drag him down. He could trip him up. He could get to, you know what I mean? I think he can be successful in some of those positions. He
could use the best takedown in the game, though.
You can knock him down.
Left hook.
There we go.
Sit down, brother.
That's the best.
Brother.
That's the best takedown there is.
I will take you down. I put you down. Okay. I always, anytime I talk about Islam, anytime I talk about Khabib, anybody like that, I get nothing but abuse from the Muslim Brotherhood. I think they think I'm against Dagestani fighters. That is not the case at all. I think it's because last time out when Charles fought Islam, Charles was on that crazy streak, beating Michael Chandler, Justin Gaethje. The list goes on, right? All the stars, and finishing them, you know, in spectacular fashion. So I was like, and it was a bit of hype, let's be honest, for a YouTube video. But I'm like, if Charles beats Islam, is he the GOAT or the GLOAT, the greatest lightweight of all time? Obviously, that's Khabib, right? And just the fact I even asked that question, they came for me. They came. But what would you say?
I still believe if he would have beaten Islam.
Yeah.
And if he beats him this time, he might be. And I'm not saying that I think that Charles beats Khabib, because if I'm being 100% honest, Khabib in his prime, when he was competing regularly, I still think smokes all the lightweights.
All of them.
If he came back right now, I think he beats them all. So it's not me saying I think Charles is a better fighter than Khabib and he would beat Khabib. I wouldn't say that. But the run he was on, the names on his list, the scalps that he's collected, if he beats Islam and you put those alongside the rest of the names on that list and on that run he was on, you're gonna have a tough time finding anybody that's gonna have a better strength of schedule than that.
Well, they're coming for me now because we're going into this conversation. We're going deep. We're going into it. And I agree. I do. Now, granted, when you look
at
I did
Khabib, start it with, I think Khabib still beats Charles.
And I think Khabib would beat Charles. Khabib. I do. I really do. And of course, 29-0. I think he hardly lost a round throughout the entirety of his career. So the way that he went through and dominated everybody. That's what makes him stand out as well, and being undefeated. And of course, you point at Charles and you see all the losses, which most of them were at 145. And I said again, wasn't the correct weight class. But when he came up to 155 and what he did there, I think those last 12 fights stack up better than Khabib's last 12 fights. And that's not from a point of disrespect. That's just looking at the facts and analyzing and forming an opinion. And I do still stand by that. So, but he lost to Islam. So that conversation is dead in the water. But if he beats Islam, are you saying Anthony Smith saying that Charles Oliveira, his career as a lightweight is better than Khabib Nurmagomedov's? Brother,
his competitive career,
brother, you think carefully, okay?
Yeah, I do.
Don't.
It depends. It depends on how he does it. Especially if he goes in there and he's dominant and looks really great doing it and just looks head and shoulders better than Islam. Yeah, I think his competitive career would be better than Khabib's. That's not me saying he's better than Khabib, because I'm saying it again. I think Khabib would come back, would do a training camp and beat Charles, but I think he would do that to everybody. I don't know that there is a lightweight that I would pick to even take a round off of Khabib.
I fully
even
agree.
Even now,
everybody. Yeah. Everybody. And I saw, it's done the rounds. I saw a little what did they call it? A reel. I saw a reel the other day, and it was Khabib, and he was talking somewhere, and he said that Dana came to him and said, "Hey, how come you didn't ask me?" And he said, "Ask me what?" He said, "Ask me what the number is for that you need paying to come back and fight again." And you got to respect Khabib, man, because what his answer was beautiful. He's like, "Well, money doesn't motivate me. I'm a man of honor." So it was something like this. I'm paraphrasing. I made a promise to my mother. I'm not going to break that promise. Now, one side, and there's two sides you can look at that. You can say, "Listen, Mom, listen, I know I'm going to break this promise."
Hey, 20%. You want 20%?
What do you want? You want a new house? You want this? You want that? You know what I mean? It's like, listen, I'm going to go fight again. Don't worry. I'm going to smoke him. I'm not going to get hurt. But then on the other side, he's breaking his promise, which you got to respect that. I mean, that is a man of honor right there.
Well, he's also in a position to be a man of honor. Yeah. Like, if he's rubbing two pennies together, I don't think he'd give a fuck about a promise to his mom. You know what I mean? So I think that says a lot about his success, financially in the position that he's in. Also, I mean this with the most respect. It is weird that it's such a big deal because of the way that he fought. If he had the fight style of Charles, and this McGregor. or this is a go out on your shield, or like you're gonna win by finish or you're gonna get knocked out, like that's crazy. But like Khabib didn't really fight like that. It's not like he ever took a lot of damage anyways.
That's right. It's not like
he's got a fairly
towards the
style.
end. I was bullshitting every medical test under the sun just to get into the doctor. I'm sure Khabib's body is still tip top. Do you know what I mean?
Right. I mean, I have to take off like out of my regular day life after every fight. I'm like, all right, it's probably gonna be like 2 weeks before I'm gonna actually be able to do anything. Like, I'm expecting to have stitches. I'm like, it's a 50-50 if I'm having surgery afterwards.
You might not ever fight again. This could be it, guys.
This could be like the next one could always be the last one. I got a fucking black eye that won't go away just from the span fight. I don't know what the hell's wrong with it. It won't go away. I think it's like permanent.
Well, looks good. Looks good.
But Khabib doesn't have one of these. Like he doesn't have a black eye. He has pretty clean.
He hasn't got a Brian O'Harrington. Just look up Khabib's injury list, if there's such a list, if it even exists, because I guarantee there isn't. I don't recall ever seeing Khabib with blood coming out of his nose. And you know what the moral of the story is? Be like Khabib. Do you know what I mean? If you're gonna be a fighter, geez Louise, that's not a bad model, is it? To get him, become the GOAT, undefeated, get out, retire on top with a vast amount of wealth. But think about that. What a nice question to have Dana White come over and say, what is the number? What is the number that you want? Ooh, what would you go for, Anthony? What would be what would you float towards him?
Oh man, it'd have to be like
just to test the waters to see if you like nibble on.
I'd probably start at like 20 million.
Yeah. Give me 25 million. We can talk.
We can work our way down to 15 and call it good.
So I found a video on YouTube where a doctor breaks down all Khabib's injuries.
Oh,
But,
I think all his were training though.
yeah, he had a knee injury in 2014, a knee injury in 2015, a rib injury in 2015. He almost died from a weight cut in 2017.
yeah. What about that
Mumps,
stuff?
and then a broken toe.
The old pinky toe, that'll get you every time.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how tough you are.
Or that big toe on a teep kick.
Or just walking around the house and stubbing your toe on your little toe on the coffee table. Do
You know, there's something wrong with my wife because she trips
saying it for a long time.
and bangs her toes on everything constantly. It's the weirdest thing. I know it's fucking random, but it's the weirdest. She constantly, like, I'll just be sitting there and she'll just fall back behind me. What happened? I stubbed my toe constantly.
Yeah. No, well, I'm the same. I'm just a clumsy bastard. You
also only have one eye.
Well, that is true.
She has both of hers.
I walk into things all the time. Lampposts and all kinds of stuff.
You have a great excuse.
Which is a good excuse because I've always been clumsy. I am so clumsy, but then when I'm doing martial arts, all of a sudden I'm this graceful swan. You know what I mean? As soon as I take the gloves off, I'm walking into doors again. Harrington, Brian, I'm a graceful swan.
No one's ever called Harrington a graceful swan.
No one's ever called me that. Let's get Harrington and Brian on the show. Let's have a little 4-window segment. How are you, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. I'd say I'm way more classified in the ugly duckling role than graceful swan.
Clear your throat, sir.
Yeah, clear your throat. You're not an ugly duckling. You're a disgusting phlegmies. I don't know what you are. You're bacteria in the phlegm. Good to see you, Harrington.
Phlegm.
I just wanted to say, the reason I brought us all on, as an MMA fan, these last few months now are going to be fantastic. You know, UFC 294, that card's ridiculous. Hamzat, Paulo Costa, Magomed Ankalaev, Johnny Walker, the list goes on. 295 in New York, Jones, Stipe, Yuri, Alex, you know, and then the rest of the undercard, and then 296 to finish the year. Talk about finishing a card strong. Anthony, out of those 3 fight cards, the pay-per-views, which one has you hyped the most?
Oh, it's John Jones Stipe for sure. I think the best fights are ones that come with a lot of storylines. And there's a lot of storylines going into the Jones Stipe fight. What does John look like at heavyweight actually? Because I don't think the Cyril Gane fight counts. I want to see him in some deep water. How's his conditioning? How's his movement? How's his speed? How's his defense as he gets a little bit older? Because, you know, we haven't seen him too much in the last 4 years, just one time. And I don't know that counts. So I'd like to see his reaction time, his defenses. I think that this is a good fight for Stipe because the only real issue my guy Stipe's had in the last couple of years is just dealing with the power of some of these heavyweights, your Francis Ngannou's and Daniel Cormier and the trilogy. John Jones isn't necessarily like the one-punch KO guy. Does he have the capability to knock anybody out? Of course, he's a 250-some-pound man. He absolutely can knock people out, but that's not his approach typically. He's not really sitting down on shots because he doesn't want to be there for the counter. So he's more of a picker. So I think gives Stipe an opportunity to really, I don't know, just be safer, I suppose.
Can I ask Darth Maul up at the top? No. Go back to the dark lights, Brian. Go back to the dark lights.
I got to change.
Oh, is it that it's doing that by itself?
Yeah, now I can't see you.
Oh.
I was looking tabs. I was looking up fights.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were messing with your stuff, like just trying to like blur out.
As soon as I start talking about it, he just sinks in looking like a hostage.
Whoa. Harrington and Brian, what say you?
You want to go ahead, Brian?
Nah, go ahead.
All right, I'm going to say 294 simply because it's the 2 best in the division, without question, right? Like Islam Makhachev and Charles Oliveira, those are the 2 most exciting guys, can put on the most dominant performances at that weight class. I think at heavyweight, I think we'd all agree, Jones and Stipe are definitely up there, but I think I'm tuning in for Sergey Pavlovich more. I think I'm tuning in for Tom Aspinall more. I think at welterweight, Hamzat can be a bigger name in that division than either Leon or Colby. 155 is the only one where we know definitively leaving that weekend, this is the best guy on the planet at that weight class.
I like that.
Yeah, but it's going to be in New York, guys.
I don't know that we see Hamzat and Colby or Leon fight though, because I don't know that Hamzat comes back to 170.
Well, Hamzat is not going to fight at 170 ever again.
Yeah,
come on.
But that's what I thought.
Are we all going to be in New York? The four of us? Are we all going to be there?
Hell yeah. I'm always in New York.
You are.
That's right.
You're always in New York, Brian. Harrington.
Yeah, I actually, to look it up, I'm leaving the weekend beforehand, but I am in town for UFC 295.
Yeah, but you abandoned us last week to go to Vegas, so it's fine. We'll be there, but you got to have your punishment. You're not going to be a part of the shows in New York, the live shows, the in-person shows. Right, Anthony? Isn't that fair?
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. What day do you get in? What day do you get in, Brian or Michael?
Oh God, I've got a nightmare. So I'm going to be in Brazil, in Sao Paulo.
Oh shit!
And then on the commentating there, and then the Sunday fly straight up to New York. So I'll get there, I think, like 6 a.m. Monday morning.
Nice. I'll get there Wednesday morning.
I'm coming sooner.
Well, I might actually have to come. I might actually have to come in Tuesday because it's such a. You can tell, kind of like the things that are happening around the card, how big it's going to be, and this one is shaping up to be absolutely massive. I'm doing an appearance at a pickleball game.
Sick.
Brian likes a bit of pickleball.
Yeah.
I don't even think that's hilarious that they're sending him to a pickleball game.
I don't know any rules in pickleball. I don't know that I've ever watched pickleball, but they're like, hey, we got this appearance we need you to do at a pickleball game. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? They're like, just show up. Like, that's it? I just have to watch the game? Like, yeah.
Harrington,
okay.
I guarantee you know the in-depth rules of pickleball.
So the only thing I know about pickleball is that it's kind of like tennis, but apparently you can't be too athletic while doing it. Like, it's a sport where you get punished for moving too quickly and too aggressively in one way or another.
Ooh, that sounds like my type of game.
It sounds perfect for you as well, Harrington.
Brian, what do you know about pickleball? You know anything about pickleball?
Just what Harrington just told us. I automatically assumed it was some sort of handball with a pickle.
Yeah. Brett Harrington knows about pickle stuffing, though, I'm sure. All right, guys, I want to tell you about Kachava, which is one of our newest sponsors. And I am telling you, this supplement, this super blend of superfoods and greens and proteins and everything that you need for your body is amazing. Listen, long gone are the days now where you have to go in and you got to have a protein powder, you got to have your super greens, you got to have your probiotics, your adaptogens, your antioxidants. Kachava has blended it all together in one. It gives you everything that your body craves and you will feel your absolute best. And the good thing is they are delicious. They are absolutely beautiful. It's creamy, smooth, and it comes in 5 delicious flavors. They've got the chocolate, the vanilla, the chai, the matcha, and the coconut acai. Listen, as I said, before you had to have your protein. Well, this has 25 grams of plant protein per serving. And as I said, it's got the superfoods, it's got the greens, the proteins, the antioxidants, the adaptogens, and the probiotics. And let me tell you, you feel fantastic after this. I'm really noticing a difference in my recovery from lifting weights. It's really helping with the protein synthesis. You feel great afterwards. You are energized throughout the day. I'm going to the bathroom nice and regularly, and it looks good when it's coming out. Anyway, moving on from that because it's disgusting, but this stuff is fantastic. Get it all in one. Get all the goodness and all the vitamins, minerals, proteins that your body needs in one little scoop of Kachava, and you can get 10% off for a limited time. So right now, go to kachava.com, Kachava, kachava.com/believe. You'll get 10% off your first order. Kachava.com/believe. Non-MMA. Let's do a quick non-MMA story before we get into some news. What have you got, Harrington?
So I got one from Anthony's own backyard. Mr. Smith sent this to us. A man was out for a, leisurely Friday night bike ride with his parrot, as one does, when a deer crashed into him, knocking him off of the bike and knocking him out. He was awoken by his parrot pecking his face, and all he remembers is a large brown blur that knocked him off of the bike.
There's no video?
No. It was just a man with his bird, so nobody was filming.
This is like
Anthony,
our local.
You sent this through last night, and you were so happy about this. Explain.
This is our actual local news channel. Like, this isn't like just some social media article. Like this is like our main TV like news station ran this. They ran this story. That's the most Nebraska thing in the world. There's been a couple that have like gone that like in the last week. There's been a couple articles that have been about Nebraska that have been like kind of national news. This one ended up on national news, and then there was one where a family lost their house. Oh no, they lost their farm. They lost their farm. This was a few years ago actually, but it's just kind of making the rounds again. Family lost its farm, went up for auction. The bank put it up for auction. The whole town shows up to the auction to buy whatever all these things that are being auctioned off, including this farm, and no one says a word and lets the young man of the family buy his family farm back. Like no one bid on it. No,
that's awesome.
Super cool.
So they did a public auction. Everyone showed up, but they were there.
It was like 300. There was like 300 people there, like at this auction, and everyone had like agreed previous, like no one's bidding on that farm.
See, that's a better story. We should have talked about that. That's amazing. And what was the how much did he buy the house or the farm back?
I don't even know the details. It's just kind of like the main part of it. I think that Harrington's found it already though.
That's beautiful though. I mean, what a nice. I mean, that's the community coming together there
for sure.
And why did he have to buy it back? Was it a foreclosure? They could.
Sounds like it was like it was like a foreclosure on the farm, and so like there was like one of the young men in the family was like, I'm going to get the family farm back, which I think is super cool. And that's a lot like Nebraska is. Like both of those stories are kind of Nebraska. Yeah. Like if there's anything that happens a lot in Nebraska, it's people hitting deer or being hit by deer. It's like it happens a lot. Dear. It happens. It
reminded me a little of Clitheroe, where I'm from. The first story I'm talking about, and by the way, I'm not surprised about the foreclosure or whatever. We don't have the details, but mortgage rates, interest rates are just absolutely ridiculous now. People's mortgages are through the goddamn roof. So I'm not surprised, but I've never been to Nebraska, but from the way you talk about it and the public perception, I feel like I can imagine the type of place. And as you say, a guy driving down the street on a bike with his parrot on his shoulder, like Clitheroe, that's kind of out there in the sticks. And you'll go into a bar, and you'll see a guy with his bird of prey, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like with his eagle, like Piggy was notorious for it. Piggy's this wild man that lives in Clitheroe, still lives there. And he would always have a bird of prey, an eagle or something like that. Do you know what I mean? One eye patch, bird of prey on his shoulder, drinking a beer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It sounds good. I want to come to Nebraska.
Yeah, like it's not weird if you go through like a small town. Like Omaha's like the biggest city in Omaha or in Nebraska. So it's like it's pretty metropolitan. But
yeah,
like where I grew up, like it's not weird to like drive through a small town. There's a bar, all the doors are open, and someone's like sitting in the bar with his truck running with like a pig in the back of his truck. Like it's not
there
weird.
He is.
Look at him.
He's got the big black eye. That's a nice parrot dog. I do believe that's a macaw.
Well, what happened to the picture? I want to look at his eyes.
Yeah, I want to look at it. Bri.
Look at his eyes, though. He looks like me after Ryan Spann got a hold of him.
He actually does, doesn't it?
I know.
Oh my God. Well, no, that's a combination of me after a hard weekend and you after a Ryan Spann fight. That's what you get.
Yeah, I probably hit, I don't know, probably 10 deer with like a vehicle.
Really?
Yeah, I know a couple people that have hit them on. Yeah, it's typically at night, so it's weird that it seemed like his happened during the day. But yeah, probably 10. I know a couple people have hit them on motorcycles.
So I drive back from Vegas, and because I've spoke about this a few times to my wife, when I'm driving home from Vegas, it's late at night. If no one's, no highway patroller listed, you put your foot down a little bit. You know what I mean? You want to get home earlier. And I always say, if an animal, and there isn't many animals in the desert, to be fair, but there's got to be some kind of wildlife out there. If something crosses the road and I blast into it at high speed, that's going to be a nightmare. So you run into about 10 deer, you say?
Oh yeah, for sure. I hit I hit a coyote on a 4-wheeler one time too.
How badly did they smash the car when you hit it?
Pretty bad. I mean, they're trucks, so like, I mean, it definitely crunched the grill and fenders and hood. But do you know the kind of the rule of thumb on when large animals run out in front of you?
I would say brake.
No, that's the opposite. I was going to ask you, do you brake?
Well, don't slam on because someone might be behind it, right?
No, the slowing of the momentum.
Speed up. Yeah,
you fucking hammer it down.
Like, do you really?
Yeah. If you're this is what we've always been taught. Like as kids, we're always told that if a deer runs out in front of you, maintain your speed or speed up, because the slowing of the momentum will pull down the front end of your car. And as you slow, the deer a lot of times will roll up in the windshield. So the last thing you want is a deer with antlers coming through your windshield. Yeah. So I've always just fucking you don't want to swerve either, because if you're doing highway speeds and you swerve, then instead of just fucking up the front of your car, then you roll. Yeah. So I just fucking hammer it down and let them have it. And that's typically you typically end up with less damage that way too.
Yeah, I never thought about it from that perspective. I was thinking about trying to avoid it. Obviously, you're not going to swerve, but that's interesting, because if you brake, as you say, the car's going to come down like that. It's going to roll up. Interesting. Huh.
Yeah, just don't even touch the cruise control.
Just staying on this animal vibe. I saw a video the other day, and maybe you can find it, Brian. A woman, I don't know where it was, Minnesota, or God knows wherever there's wild buffalo roaming. Did you see it? Did you see it? And she shouldn't have been there. They're getting too close to the buffalo.
Oh, I've seen this.
The buffalo charges. She runs. She falls on the floor, and they're all shouting, "Play dead, play dead!" And there's this giant buffalo, and it just comes up to her, kind of sniffs at her a little bit, and then walks away. But that must.
People are idiots.
They're idiots.
People like. When people see animals like that, like buffalo, we have a couple places here, like some wildlife safaris, and outside of Omaha, and like in South Dakota, where we go ride razors all the time. There's this whole park, and there's this wild buffalo, and we see people all the time getting out and like trying to get close to get pictures. Like that thing weighs like 3,000 pounds. Like what is? It's not a pet. Like what are you doing?
The weight and the strength of something like that,
and the speed.
We just can't compute it.
Yeah, and the speed, they're so fast. But it reminds me of like bears. Like people think that like bears are these cute look at this cute cuddly bear. Like no, that thing is a murderer.
I got it. Went there around today. Don't you worry, Brian. Don't you worry. The segue of the year coming up. Piss off. Go on, carry on.
Bears are just. I talk about it all the time. Like I would, if you had to choose, if you wanted to get eaten by a bear or a lion, I would choose a lion all day, because at least a lion will kill you first before it eats you. Like bears will just eat you they'll eat you asshole first while you're alive.
Well, it's at situations like this that I have to ponder what I would do if I was confronted with a grizzly bear. Being the man that I am, and I believe in myself, Anthony, I would just take charge of the situation. I would for example, if I was at a barbecue and a grizzly bear was to approach me, I'd be like, no, sorry, get out, get out. You're not welcome here. And that bear would listen. We have video.
What makes you think that?
Well, take a look at this video.
I got a video. Thank you.
Hey, no, Mike, get on this, Mike.
Just move. Just
don't move. Holy shit, that's
like that gate's gonna do anything. Good thing you shut the gate.
Now, have we shut the gate?
Yeah, thank God he shut the gate afterwards.
Hey, but later on in that video, he pulls up his shirt and the claws got him pretty good. I mean,
did it?
That man had some balls of steel, because guess what?
That's probably fear. That's probably fear, though. You're already kind of stuck. He said,
and scream,
"Get out!" Like Jesus Christ.
Well, I guess if you're backed up against a fence like that and there's a bear like that in front of you, because you can't
really back down and run.
You got to establish some kind of authority and dominance. You know what I mean? You can't show fear, even though you're probably terrified inside. So that man.
That's best case scenario of being a black bear, though, for sure. Black bears are like, I've never hunted bear or anything, but like got a lot of friends that do, and like black bears are like, they're like, all my friends that hunt bears describe black bears as kind of like crackheads. Like they're kind of sketchy. Like they don't really like to come around. They're not like super. They're not going to confront you typically. Like they'd rather run away. Like brown bears or grizzly bears. No way.
You're dead. Simple as that. They're my favorite animals, though. I think bears. They're incredible.
I do think bears are cool. I do think they're cool. They're so big.
Should we try and maintain?
Just keep talking about animals.
I want to talk about this stuff. Do you know what Rebecca's been doing? Fuck it. I was going to get into the hard-hitting MMA drama.
Dude, let's fucking get into it. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
People like this. They don't mind.
Rebecca, do you know? I mean, God bless her. It's quite the life that I've built for her. Her big thing this week, because she wants, as you guys call it, a parakeet. We call it a budgie, right? She wants a budgie. We call it a budgie. You got a budgie. No, never mind. You won't be able to find it. She wants a budgie, right? A parakeet. And so we're getting one at the weekend, but she's been trying to find the perfect cage. You know what I mean? She wants one that kind of looks antique, and it wants one she can bring around the house and all the rest of it. And that's all she's been doing for a week, researching budgie cages, parakeet entrapments. I mean, that's the biggest thing going on in Rebecca's life right now. But she found the perfect little one which will dangle and hang down.
Here's the pro. You know what? They were gonna have a counseling session right here, Mike. There's been some contention in my house all week, so it's kind of a long story. But I'll make me and my irresponsible purchases. I bought a boat last year.
Of which there's many.
Yeah, there is. I bought a boat last year. Didn't take it out one time during the summer, not once. Because I just don't have time. I'm busy. I thought I would. I didn't. She was right the whole time. She's like, "You're fucking stupid. You don't have time to take this boat out." I'm like, "Yeah, what are you talking about? I'll set some time away for myself because that's what's important, right? I need to have some time.
Take time out to connect with nature and realize who I am deep down inside my soul."
That's what I thought. Well, I didn't. So I've been catching a bunch of shit about this boat that just sits. It's being like I'm paying to store it and whatever. So I come up with this great idea last week that I want a new truck. No idea why. I just want a new truck. That just really no reason. Mine's fine. So I want a new one. So I go and I have these people like build the truck, like online, like at the my friend at the dealer built it online. Like, yeah, that's the one I want. I want that one. He was like, all right, it's going to take 12 weeks. Cool. I'm gonna go talk to my wife. We'll be good. I thought for whatever reason, she'd be like, yeah, it's fine. Not a big deal.
So brand spanker.
Brand new. Yeah, it's not even built yet. I had to order it. So, so I go and I was like, oh, hey, I talked to Bobby. I'm gonna get this truck. And she was like, no, you're not. I was like, what? What? I don't deal with no very well, first of all. Like, and to be fair, I wasn't really asking. I was just telling you.
I was informing you of the situation.
Yeah, I was letting you know what I was doing.
Black eye that I've still got.
Right. Well, that's where I go. I worked so hard. I deserve it. So initially she was like, no. And I was like, I wasn't asking. I'm getting the truck. And she was like, Anthony, you don't. So then she goes down this long thing about I don't need a truck and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, all right. She talked me out of it. So then I was like, well, I'm going to sell the boat and I'm going to get a tailgating trailer. No idea why. Because I go to all the, I got the Chiefs tickets, so I go down there and tailgate all the time. So I think I got this great idea. And then that got ixnayed too, because then she was like, you have to sell the boat first. Well, it's fucking fall and going into wintertime. No one's buying a boat right now. Especially that one. Boat? A little bit.
Yeah, but what are we talking? What kind of price range? I'll buy the boat.
It's not a lot.
I want a boat.
Do you want a boat? No,
I mean,
see, the problem with this
I'm sure getting it from Arkansas or Nebraska to California is not going to be easy, but Harrington will pay Harrington to drop it off.
I skipped part of the story. It's not like a brand new boat. It's like a classic that was restored. So like it's hard to like sell the boat.
It's a steam engine.
Well, no, it's
locomotive.
No,
I know. It's okay.
No, I'm like thinking of how to explain it. It's like a specific type of person is going to want this boat. It's not like it's just a regular boat that anybody's going to buy.
A sophisticated gentleman?
No, you just got to have to like know boats, to know what it is. But anyways, so that's what we've been arguing about my fucking stupid purchases. And now I got myself backed into a corner because now the deal is I can't do anything until I sell this boat. Well, it's like, I don't really have time to just sit around chit-chatting with idiots and tire kickers selling a boat. So now I got myself backed into a corner because like, you know what? Fine. I'll fucking sell the boat and then I'll get what I want. She was like, yeah, cool. But you have to sell the boat first.
But
God damn it.
No. So this is good though, Anthony. This is good because I've got the exact opposite problem. right? When my wife just allows me to buy whatever I pops into my head. You know, like I've just bought a new car. I don't need a new car. Do you know what I mean? I don't go anywhere. The only place I drive is to Vegas and back when I'm working. Other than that, I'm sitting in here. I'm doing YouTubes. I'm doing the podcast. I go nowhere. My wife has a perfectly good car. The car that I had was a perfectly good car. Nice little Audi A6 Supercharge. You know what I mean?
Oh, you got rid of that one?
I got rid of it. Yeah.
What'd you get?
Now I've got an Audi S7. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But I didn't need it.
The other one was fine.
The other one was fine. This one's way better, way more expensive. Didn't need it. But she's like, you should do that, Michael. Because I just float the idea. I'm like, oh, maybe I've had it for a while. I'm look at a new car because I've always, the S7s are beautiful. And she's like, you should do that. You should do that. I'm like, no, I better not. No, it's a lot of money. It's just an idea. She's, no, you should. You work so hard. You work so hard. You should do that.
See,
so now I've got out and bought this stupid car.
You're an idiot. My wife's like,
I know.
You're an idiot. Why do you need a new truck? You have like a pretty new truck. I'm like, I don't know.
I've had it on the driveway for 2 weeks. I've gone down to like.
Hasn't moved.
I've gone down to Ralph's. And that's a lie. I don't go to Ralph's. There's a little like breakfast place. I've been down there once. You know, and that I don't even want to take it to Vegas anymore because I don't want to put the miles on it. Do you know what I mean?
So now you fucked yourself.
I fucked myself. Jesus Christ. I'm just trying to find somewhere to go. I need some friends. Oh dear. Anyway, it is a nice car.
That's my problem.
Let's get out on the boat before you sell it. We're all coming down. Arkansas, Nebraska, wherever the it is that you live. All right, let's talk about Shopify, which is the commerce platform which is revolutionizing millions of businesses worldwide. Whatever it is that you're selling, Shopify simplifies selling online and in person so that you can focus on growing your business. Shopify basically allows you to take your business, have an online presence so you can maximize your audience, your sales, and it lets you do it very easily, cheaply, conveniently. You can accept every major credit card and payment method. Shopify covers every sales channel from an in-person POS system to an all-in-one e-commerce platform. Even lets you sell across social media like TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. 24/7 help is available. An extensive business course library is also there. Shopify is there to support your success every single step of the way, and it is packed with industry-leading tools ready to ignite your growth. Listen, if you need to get online, if you want to take your business to the next level, if you want to really maximize your potential and make the most money, let's be honest, you need to be online and you need to do it in the best way possible. And Shopify is absolutely fantastic. So it's time to get serious about selling and try Shopify today. These are the possibilities powered by Shopify. And check this out. Sign up for a $1 per month trial at shopify.com/believe. All lowercase. Go to shopify.com/believe to take your business to the next level today. Shopify.com/believe. All right, Harrington, don't disappoint me, brother. Don't disappoint me, but give us a hard-hitting, interesting, highly clickable MMA news story. Not one for you, one for all the believers listening to this right now. What do they want to hear us talking about in the world of mixed martial arts? There's a lot of big stories. Send you some myself.
Well, as a I mean, there is certainly one that you sent me. One championship. The CEO. He compared most.
Say his name.
Come on, man. Come on, dude. That's not even fair.
Chatri Satyadong or something like
Chatri Sityatong.
Sityatong, something like that, yeah.
So he says the typical UFC fighter is akin to a D1 college wrestler. Here's an extension of the quote. What you see in, let's say, the UFC is very sloppy, mediocre-ish striking because they're not strikers. A typical UFC fighter is a D1 college wrestler, 7-0 in the minor leagues. Then they do a little bit of striking. Then they enter the UFC. At one, these are world champions before they arrive, and they're already multiple-time world champions at the peak of their careers when they arrive. Anyone from Anissa Mexon to Jonathan DeBella to Rod Tang, any of them, all legit killers.
Yeah, I mean, look, listen. First of all, he's being a promoter. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Of course,
him.
he's promoting his company. I get it.
He's being a promoter, and he's saying that we've got the better fighters, we've got the better strikers, so on and so forth. But in doing so, he has attacked the UFC, and he's attacked the quality of the fighters there, which, of course, we're both fighters and we represent the brand as well. So we will give our response. Now, granted, people like Rod Tang and some of the people that he mentioned, yeah, they're phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal, you know. And I mean, he's come. I mean, you do know we have guys like, even though he just lost, Israel Adesanya, Conor McGregor. We've got some incredible strikers as well. Granted, in the world, maybe out there in Asia, you know, they're tried and tested. They come from the Muay Thai scene and things like that. I don't watch too much ONE FC. In fact, I've never watched ONE FC, so because I don't have time. But in mixed martial arts, because he's talking about the wrestling side of things, and he's saying that causes a disparity in terms of the striking ability. Well, bring your best strikers over to the UFC and put them up against. They'll be lightweights. Put them up against Islam Makhachev and see what happens.
Right.
Guaranteed to get choked out pretty quickly.
That was the undertones that I heard with that quote. Like, we have people that just strike. Like, we have more strikers. Like, I mean, that's great, but find your best.
They've got Demetrius Johnson. I'm just looking. Sorry to interrupt. I'm just looking at the list. The first one that popped up was Demetrius Johnson. But
it's the only time I've watched one is when Demetrius is fighting, and then I watched Eddie Alvarez. I was tuned in to watch Eddie fight. But bring your best 85er, and like, let's see what Hamzat does to him. You know. But
a lot of them. I mean, not a lot of them, but I'm looking at one, Arjun Bulla here. No disrespect to Arjun Bulla. He was in the UFC for a while, and if I'm not mistaken, I can't remember his run, and I'm not attacking him at all.
He was cut.
Yeah, he was cut. He was cut because he couldn't cut it in the UFC. You know, I'm not talking shit. He's a great guy. I think I called one of his fights. He seemed like a very, very nice man. So I'm by no stretch of the imagination.
But he's only in one because he didn't last in the UFC.
I mean, Demetrius Johnson. No offense, Ben Askren. They should have stuck with Demetrius on that one. Love you, Ben. You know, but he's just being a promoter. But I'll tell you what, though. I'll tell you what I did see this week. One of the fighters in Harrington, maybe just look it up exactly who it is that I'm talking about. One of the fighters' contracts made it online. You know what I'm talking about, Anthony?
Yeah, I don't remember what his name was.
Yes, I'm not familiar with him at all. He's not exactly an established mixed martial artist, but he was making his UFC ONE FC debut. Right, now, get ready with your company man comments. Get ready with them, because I'm going to give you an opportunity to drop them in the comment section, because it's coming. Of course, everybody loves to rip on the UFC because it's the most established and successful product, okay? And that's generally the way human nature is. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's 15 and 15, right? Entry level. Or is it 10 and 10 or
12 and 12? I think it's 12 and
12 and 12. 12 and 12. That's for somebody, right, that doesn't have a following, that doesn't have a large social media presence. That's somebody that's just won a few fights, as our friend from ONE FC said, on the regional scene, and they say, you know what, we'll give him a shot. That brings nothing to the table. And they have the ability to win $24,000. Well, this guy right here is going up for ONE FC, and his purse is $1,500. Okay? And is there a win bonus? Yeah, 1,500. 15 and 1,500, not 1,000.
1,500 and 1,500.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I've long said, find a big organization that has any kind of TV deal, that has that's, whether it's PFL, Bellator, ONE, Ryzen, whatever. Maybe there's one other one. Find anyone that pays more than 12 and 12 for a debut guy. Just a off the regional scene debut guy. You won't find. And by the way, you won't find better money than that. I had probably fucking 20 something fights when I got cut in 2013 from the UFC. When I got cut, and then I fought twice in Bellator, I didn't make $5,000 combined between the two after being in the UFC. So
really,
yeah. So find someone that's going to pay you 12 and 12.
And by the way, this is one. I'm not talking
12
shit about
12,000 and 12,000, by the way.
Yeah. I'm not talking. This is not any negativity directed towards ONE FC, right? You know, they're running a business, and I think people just have these misconceptions. You know, because of the boxing and the razzle dazzle of people like Tyson Fury and Canelo Alvarez, and there's been many great, legendary, very wealthy boxers, right? But it's not boxing. You know, and it's just the way it is. And even in boxing, if you look at the thousands of boxers that there is, there's hardly any. And if you look at the UFC, and again, I wasn't here trying to protect the UFC and talk about how great they are. That's not what I'm doing. It's just I'm giving a reasonable approach, right? Trust me, the average guy in the UFC makes a lot more than the average boxer. You have the outliers in the boxing world, of which there is more than there is in the UFC, but we have those outliers as well. And those outliers, like a Fury and a Canelo Alvarez, probably earn more than what a McGregor does. I don't know. I think McGregor does pretty good, but this wasn't my plan to get onto it. Do you know what I mean? But people talk all this kind of nonsense, and they don't know what they're talking about. But if you look at ONE FC there, and if you look at the average boxer on the undercard, I don't know if we can see what somebody give us a boxing card. In fact, Brian O'Harrington.
What about the last Canelo fight?
Charlo and Canelo. Yeah. Right. See if we can bring that up. Let's bring that up, because they would have made that public through the athletic commissions. I'm genuinely curious to see what those purses were, because I guarantee
it wasn't Vegas, right? I don't know that the Nevada Athletic Commission releases purses anymore.
Oh, did they not?
There's a lot of states that have pushed back on that, and they don't do it anymore. But here's what I think we need to do, and this is getting off way.
And by the way, I just want to, sorry, Anthony, it's a quick statement. I'm all for fighters making as much money as possible. That's what I want to see, of course. Okay, so it's not about being a company man. It's about being realistic. Sorry, Anthony. Continue.
No, I think we need to separate boxing and MMA more, because no one ever compares what we make to a football player or what we make to a baseball guy. Like, because why don't we do that? Because they're two different sports. And I've always thought, excuse me, like boxing and MMA need to be separated more, down to the scoring system, down to the judges, the referees, all of that shit. But I am going to be first and foremost on the bandwagon to get fighters paid more. I want to make more money. You want to make more money. We all want to make more money. But it drives me crazy when people shit all over the UFC and for what they pay their fighters, and don't say anything about anybody else. Everyone's always saying, oh, that's 12,000. That's bullshit. Entry-level guys should get paid more. Then if that's a problem, then you need to go look at ONE's contracts too. If you're going to blast the UFC for it, then you need to put them all in the same category and shit on them all. Because it makes, there's nobody else there's guys that are on the Contender Series making more money than they've ever made in their whole careers. Maybe not some of the guys that have already, maybe there's been a couple guys that have fought in the UFC before and they're coming back through or whatever, but like no one's making that kind of money on the regional scene. There's a reason they're coming to the Contender Series. If they had better opportunity somewhere else, I promise you fighters will take the better opportunity. They'll take the more money almost every single time. So it just it's a lot of people that just don't know what they're talking about. Like they don't understand how the game works.
They don't understand how the game works, and also more importantly, they want to talk crap about the man, and the man in this situation would be the UFC and of course Dana White. They just want to. They want to do these news stories and tear them down and make them to be this awful figure, and the UFC are so bad. And I'll tell you why right now, why I sit here and talk about this, and you'll do the same thing, because it's changed my life. And I know the other side of the coin. I know it's very different. And guess what? Any fighter that is worth their salt, and this is ultimately what it comes down to, the idea is not to get to the UFC and earn 12 and 12, right? That's not the goal. Right, you're not going to embark and do an entire life's work in martial arts, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and everything else to say, do you know what I want to do? I mean, some people might do, but people with limited expectations and ambitions, they don't say, I want to get to the UFC. You say, I want to be UFC champion of the world. So your first shot, you'll get potentially $24,000. And if you're good, then you'll go through and you renegotiate and you get new contracts and all the rest of it. And you'll notice that You know, there's a lot of people that have done very well. You know, you've got a boat, for crying out loud. You're always buying dumb shit. You're just buying a new truck. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're sitting here defending the structure. Of course, we all want more money because that's ingrained into us as human beings in the capitalistic society that we live in. We all want more, but there is more there. 12 and 12 is like, all right, let's give you a shot. See what you got. If you're good, the cream will rise to the top.
Right.
And if you ain't good enough, well, then I'm very sorry. Maybe this business isn't for you. You know what I'm saying? And maybe
and people don't like hearing that.
And maybe maybe $24,000 was pretty good for you. On the regional scene, I mean, it was different in your day probably, but Jesus Christ, my first fight got nothing. Then it was a few hundred. I remember got paid $1,000 for the cage rage title fight. I thought I was in the money, baby. You know what I mean? Then I got to the UFC, and then there was all kinds of, and I always got paid more than what was on my contract. And that doesn't get mentioned either because it's behind closed doors. And I know maybe things are a little bit different now because there's new owners and all the rest of it. But
they're still there.
But they're still there. They're still there. Back in the day, I mean, it was, I think Rampage Jackson was talking about the bonuses he got, and they were massive in the millions. And Chuck Liddell was talking about it recently on a podcast. I always got some pretty like epic checks from Dana afterwards, you know. So yeah, company man, but it's because it's changed my life, and people don't know what they're talking about. No. And when they compare it to leagues as well, so you know, they're teams with how many people are on a team? And then you got the backup people, and they're traveling all over the place. And you got it's a different structure.
It's a different, completely different structure. Absolutely different.
53-man roster for each NFL team that's traveling all over the place. Anyway, before you also unsubscribe, but it's true though, I didn't see all the backlash to ONE FC. Imagine if a contract came out for $1,500 for a UFC fight.
Yeah.
You know,
we'd be hearing about that.
It's very conveniently just swept under the rug. All right, football is back, and so is winning season at MyBookie. NFL, college football, and a brand new cash-out system give you options to bet and win all season long. First two legs of your parlay hit, cash out early and use the funds on another bet, or let it ride for the chance at an even bigger payday. Use early cash outs as a tool to stay in control of the action at MyBookie. To get started, go to mybookie.ag now and register for an account for free. When you're ready to make your first deposit, just use the promo code BELIEVE to grab a welcome bonus on the house. That is promo code BELIEVE to claim your deposit bonus, and for a limited time, a free chip which you can use in the MyBookie casino. Now, remember, you can bet on anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie. Visit mybookie.website/BelieveYouMe. What have we got here? We did a little bit of Colby Covington. Oh, Conor McGregor's back in the USADA testing pool. That's worth talking about.
That's what he says, right? He said he sent the paperwork in.
Yeah. His tweet was like, I'm going to do something to you do nothing, bitch, talking about Chandler. He said he's already submitted the paperwork to Jeff Nowitzki. And you know what? It makes sense. And I got a question for you. It makes sense because, listen, he's not going to get back before the end of the year. He's got to do 6 months. 6 months from now brings us to April. December's 296. January, February, March, April. That's 4. 296 to 300. April. It all ties in perfectly for him to come back against Michael Chandler at UFC 300. And surely,
you think that's been the plan the whole time?
I don't know if it's been the plan the whole time, but I reckon it was the plan when he was told,
fell through.
Listen, you ain't fighting in December, buddy.
Yeah.
You know. So I forgot where I was going there. So anyway, he's back. He's fighting Michael Chandler. But Rebecca brought something up to me. And as you're currently in the USADA testing pool, because I was like, McGregor's apparently back in the USADA testing pool. I said, he's definitely going to be UFC 300 now. I was having a little chat about it. And she said something, and it was kind of interesting. She said, well, hold on a minute. Wouldn't he have, and this is probably kind of the delay, I think we're all agreed that because of the broken leg, whatever you want to call it, he went out of the USADA testing pool to fully recover, walk around like a refrigerator with a titanium shin bone, right? He definitely got nice and saucy there for a bit.
Yeah.
If he's coming back in to the USADA testing pool, you'd have to clean whatever's out of your system first. You can't just go, right, I'm going to come back in. Because as soon as you fail one test, then you're going to get suspended. Do you know what I mean? So what would be the protocol there? You would have to, so that's probably been the delay in coming back, which that never occurred to me before.
Oh, really? That's what I always thought it was.
That never occurred to me.
I always thought he was just cleaning up and then wait until his system was re-racked and working on its own again. That's what I always kind of figured, was he was just letting his body regulate and then he'd be back in. I haven't seen any big saucy pictures of him lately, though. I don't know what he looks like.
Well, I don't know what he looks like either.
Is he less saucy?
He's probably a little less juicy. Let's be honest. I mean, he's not on the good stuff anymore. One would assume. Could you imagine he fails? My God. But I'm happy for Michael Chandler, and I'm happy for myself as a fan of mixed martial arts. We've just said the year is going to end strongly. UFC 300 around the corner. There's a lot of great fighters, but love him or hate him, he's a polarizing guy. He's one of the most exciting guys in the UFC that we've ever seen, you know? And as I said, love him or hate him, and a lot of people still love him, right? And he drives me up the fucking wall, let's be honest. But you can't deny the energy and the excitement that he brings to the sport.
No, not at all. I think that as far as the eyeballs and the vibe, like there's just a different vibe when Conor's fighting. You know, it just feels different when you're there. And it's undeniable. Like you said, like him or hate him, he brings something different. So I do think the sport's a better place when Conor is fighting. Yeah. The problem is you just never feel like, I don't know, like when John fought, he came back and you're like, all right, well, John's back. We're going to get rolling again. And then it's like, fucking pump the brakes again. Conor he used to be, here's who he's fighting. And then he wins. You're like, all right, who do he got next? He's going to be fighting in 4 or 5 months or 6 months. And it's always like rolling through the next one. I think that's when it's at its best. But this whole like fighting, then he pumps the brakes and doesn't fight for a few years. And it's like, that part sucks. It used to be like exciting to like start talking about who his next opponent is and rolling it forward. There's no opportunity to really roll it forward with Conor anymore.
The obvious question is, what version do you think we'll get? Because the last time he fought, well, by the time he fights, it'll be April 2024. His last fight was July 2021. I think, and call me crazy, I think he's going to come back and look great. I think that he's going to be motivated. I think now he has 6 months to really turn it on. No, Dana came out, was asked about it at a press conference recently and said, you know, who knows, maybe he hasn't got that same hunger because he's a very, very wealthy man. And that's true. That is definitely a point. You know, and we see him living his flamboyant lifestyle, and rightly so, he's earned that. But you got to remember, a guy that can reach the levels that he did, become a two-weight champion, you know, there's work ethic there, there's discipline, and there's insane natural ability, you know. And a guy that has that, if you give them 6 months, he can get that back again, in my opinion, because there's two things you can't buy. You can't buy the UFC lightweight championship of the world, and you can't buy respect as a fighter. And that's something he holds dear to his heart.
I think he does too. I wish he would come out and say what really motivated him. I'd love to, like, because he doesn't do much media, obviously. I'd love to know what that motivating factor is. Like, why? Like, what makes you want to come back? You know? I don't know.
Well,
I just wonder what it is. Like, is he really coming back chasing the title? Is he coming back chasing the title?
I know what it is. Well, I think I know. When I was younger, and this is a flaw for sure, all I cared about was being the toughest guy around. You know what I mean? And then, because that's what I had. That's what I was good at. As I said before, I was clumsy. I was shit at all sports, but I could fight. You know, and that was my badge of honor. I will fucking fight, and I will be known as the toughest guy around here in my town, in my area. You know, and it's pathetic, it's childish, and it got me in a lot of trouble, but it served me well because I ended up on this path. And that is a badge of honor that I had. And I was like, right, I'm going to be the best fighter. I'm going to ride this, the brakes fall off. I'm going to get to the top of this sport. And it's the same with McGregor, right? And it's a special power but knowing that you're a bad motherfucker like yourself, Anthony. Do you know what I mean? Like a lot of people on the roster, but sticking out amongst the baddest of the baddest. Do you know what I mean? That's what drives you. You want to go in there. You want to dominate another man like a Michael Chandler on pay-per-view. You know what I mean? Get all that attention, get all that money, all well and good, but you want that feeling of walking out there in front of the entire world, being the man, headlining UFC 300, sparking him out cold after being away for 3 years and saying, see, all you motherfuckers that said I couldn't do this, look at what I just did. And that is a rush. Like, money can't buy that. No drugs can replicate that. You know what I'm saying? And he's got all of that stuff, but that is the only thing that he's missing. He wants that back.
I think that's probably very similar to one of my biggest flaws. It's not even so. I try to really focus on proving myself right and proving the things that I say right. I fucking get off on proving people wrong, though. I fucking get off on it. And they say that, like, you're not supposed to be motivated by that. Like, it's not supposed to be something that's motivating and you know, consumes you. But I fucking love it. I love like that. I fucking told you so. I love that. I don't know why. Excuse me, but I get that. I get that part of it for sure. And it's probably a character flaw, I would imagine.
No, I don't think it is a character flaw. I was talking about when I was younger, just trying to fight everyone all the time. That was a character flaw. But I think having that ability to want to prove people wrong, certainly when it's something in a positive environment, you know, if you're always told you're not good enough, if you always say you can't do this, you're not good enough, you'll never make it to that level. And people with these restrictive mindsets shoot you down because you've got these goals and these lofty ambitions. Having the not only the mindset to say I'll prove you wrong, but having the work ethic to get off your ass and say, no, I'm going to show you, I'm going to do it. Like, and it goes back to, like, in my career when I was losing a few fights, I was winning one, I was losing one, winning one, losing one, you know what I mean? Then I had the eye issue and all the rest of it, and everyone wrote me off. And I remember your reporters saying, you lose this one, that's it, right, Mike? You're never going to sniff a title fight or anything like that again. I was like, these motherfuckers, they've all wrote me off. They all think I can't do this. They all, they honestly think I can't do this. Yeah, and that was all the motivation I need. And that's why I said it on my documentary, these exact words. And I thank you all. I thank you all right now, because you have no idea how much that motivated me. And to bring it back to what we were talking about, that's exactly what McGregor's going through right now, because he's got the money. He never has to work a day in his life, right? He smashed it out the park. He's the most successful mixed martial artist that we've ever seen, or maybe we will ever see. You know, there might never be another Conor McGregor, you know, but right now he's not a laughing stock. But you know what I mean? But he hasn't got, he's lost 3 out of his last 4, with the one win being an old version of Donald Cerrone. It's not a fight that people are going to point to prove his greatness. But he wants to come back. Michael Chandler, tough fight. Beat Michael Chandler.
If he beats Michael Chandler, he puts himself right back in a great position to not only prove everybody wrong, but shut guys like me and you up, probably, you know, about where's his focus out? Is he motivated? How much does he give a shit? But it puts himself in a pretty good position to be close to a title fight, oddly enough.
Yeah. Bet your bottom dollar, bro. He wins that fight, he's fighting for the belt. It's as simple as that. Jake Shields, he was charged with misdemeanor battery following an alleged attack on Mike Jackson. And a bench warrant has been issued. Harrington, do you have any color for this story? Oh, excuse me. Try that again. Do you have any color, sir?
Not too much with this story. Just the video did come out. It's very clear, you know, who instigated the altercation, and based on that footage, the judge issued the bench warrant for Jake Shields. It is a misdemeanor, as far as I read, though. So I don't think he's facing, you know, felony charges for the incident.
That wasn't the color I was looking for. That was black and white, Harrington. Right? we know the color, right, Anthony?
Yeah.
Mike Jackson's been talking shit for God knows how long on Twitter, calling Jake Shields a racist and all these other nasty words, calling him everything under the sun. And Jake Shields said, keep that same energy if you ever see me in person. And I'm not sure exactly what went down at the PI, but it ended with Jake Shields getting on top of him, and I believe showing some restraint, not actually damaging him, taking him down, taking mount position, and if I remember rightly, just giving him like little slaps just to demean him and embarrass him. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good rundown of what happened. Liz, I've run into Mike Jackson a couple times. He's always been really nice to me.
I don't know him.
Yeah, he's always seemed like a little bit of an internet troll, but he's always been very, very polite, very respectful, decent conversations with that guy. But I have seen all the bullshit with Jake Shields, and here's Jake taking a pretty technical mount position here and not really doing a whole lot. Listen, Jake is one of the best jiu-jitsu practitioners and grapplers to ever compete in mixed martial arts.
Without question.
He could have crushed him. Even in those couple seconds, he could have done a lot of damage.
He could have done him some serious damage, raining down elbows, broke his nose. He just could have gone on and on and on. But he didn't, and I think that all he wanted to do was prove a point, to say, and I think the point was proven.
The cop thing bothers me. Again, like I said, I don't have any issue. I don't have any issue with Mike Jackson, but if you talk as much shit and have we all forgotten? Jake Shields is one of the honorary members of the Scrap Pack. What the fuck did you think was going to happen? He's hanging out with the Diaz bros. He's with Gil and all those guys. They're all the same. If you say something and you're going to be talking shit, you better expect that they're going to come your way when they see you. There's no surprise there. If you talk shit to Nick or Nate or Jake and you happen to run into them, they are not going to just pass you like ships passing in the night. That's not going to happen. They're going to say something, and everybody knows that. So as hard as he trolled him and there's things that he said about him, I don't give a shit if they're true, not true. I don't think Jake's a racist. I've been around him a lot, but I like Jake. Him and I get along great. I've never gotten any kind of bad vibes from him at all. But if you say if those kind of things about him, and then his response is keep that same energy when you do see me in person, don't be shocked. And then don't call the cops.
I was going to say, and don't run to the goddamn police. And let's remember right now as well that this isn't
and like it or not, Mike Jackson is a UFC fighter.
He fought in the UFC. You fought in the UFC. There's a reason when you were there in the first place. You're both able-bodied men that are skilled martial artists. You were skilled enough and tough enough, or you thought you were, to fight in the Ultimate Fighting Championships. And you went after him.
And maybe he fought CM Punk or whatever. But
who cares?
Either way, he was a UFC fighter.
He thought he could go. He should have thought, I'm not here for the 12 and 12. I'm here to be a champ. You know what I mean? and then he goes after Jake Shields on Twitter saying very, very, very nasty things. And certainly in this current political climate, the kind of things that he's calling them, mud sticks these days. It's fucking bullshit, right? Jake Shields is awesome. He was part of my training camps a number of times. I like Jake. I don't see him very often, but when I do see him, we always exchange a very warm, I give him a hug. We shoot the shit for 5 minutes. You know what I mean? We've got some mutual friends. I like Jake a lot, and I don't mind saying that. He's awesome. That guy talks all that shit, and then Jake shows restraint. Didn't send him to the hospital. Didn't beat him black and blue.
When you've trained with Jake, you know what he's capable of.
He's unbelievable. He's unbelievable. Almost.
So when I seen it, got
him in a toe hold once though. Just saying.
When I seen that video for the first time, I was like, "Oh man, you're so lucky. Jake's being nice to you." Like a regular average person's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe he's doing that to him." But like any of us that are in the know are like, "Oh wow, that was really nice of Jake to let him survive."
But then he runs off to the police,
which is bullshit.
Which is ridiculous.
That's the current climate we live in. I know we sound like fucking grumpy old men when we say this, but there used to be consequences for the amount of work that your mouth does. Like if you run your mouth, like I've never once talked shit to someone or about someone and not expected that there was a chance that they were going to bring that to me in person. Because I'm fine with that. Like, if I'm saying it, then I know that there's definitely an opportunity that they're going to come have a problem with it in person, and I'll answer for that. And if he beats the shit out of me, then whatever.
But that's how it should be, and that's how it goes.
If he beats me up, I'll stand behind what I said. But if you beat me up, then I mean, I still said what I said, and I still believe it, and that's just what it is. If you don't want beat up, then don't say it. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I guess the other side of that is just to play devil's advocate. In a civilized society, you should be able to have a difference of opinion. But I guess he wasn't having a difference of opinion. He was just attacking him online. He was calling him a racist and all kinds of stuff. So it's not having a difference of opinion. You're right. That is different. If someone's coming at you and calling you names like that, that's going to get around a response. That is find outiest.
I think attacks and discourse are different. If you're attacking someone, you should expect that they're going to slap you in the mouth when they see you. But if we're talking arguments, political differences, cultural differences, like arguments about current events or whatever. That's one thing.
The main event next month.
Yeah, like any argument, it doesn't matter. Yeah, like if you're just disagreeing, it doesn't matter. Like that's one thing. But like attacking him, like I just go back to like, what did you expect he was going to do? Well, if you've been around this for more than 5 minutes, you know that all those guys in that group that hang out, you've been around more than 5 minutes, you know that he's going to slap the shit out of you when he sees you.
100%. And you got to be ready for those consequences or run off to the police. And you know, just to go back to what he was calling him, as I say, in this political climate right now, you know what I mean? People are getting cancelled left, right, and center for crazy things. So you can't be saying things like that and not expect emotions to run high. We'll move off Jake Shields now, but I don't know why this popped into my head because it doesn't really, it's not really connected. But did you see that thing that just happened in New York? Did you see that this far left activist, he'd been to a wedding with his,
I did just see this,
with his girlfriend, and they're sitting at a bus stop at like 1 o'clock in the morning. Some guy walks past and just stabs him to death and leaves him there on the sidewalk, pavement, we would say, but you guys walk on the side, so you call it a sidewalk. And then, just leaves and then goes off and he's dead. And she won't even...
She won't give a description because he's black. She won't say it.
Because he's black and doesn't want to say it and doesn't want to come across as a racist or something like that. And he just murdered your bloody boyfriend.
But that's his race. You eliminate 41% of the rest of the people by giving the correct description. Otherwise, they're just looking at everybody. It's like man or woman. If you don't want to say it's a man or a woman, like it'd be the same thing. You eliminate 50% of the population as a suspect.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to tell a man from a woman these days as well. You know, you should never assume somebody's gender, Anthony.
It's true. Maybe she wouldn't have.
So I just wanted to hop on to bring up, you know,
like your throat.
Come on, John Fury.
Flemington.
No man alive. No man alive has as much crap in their throat.
Sir Mike Flemington, go ahead.
I was just going to make the point about Reuben Carter, the hurricane, right? Who just happened to be a black guy who fit the description and was in the area of a crime that was committed. He went to jail for like 30 years over a crime he didn't do. So I can understand her point being like, I don't want to describe a, 6 foot.
You think that's what she was thinking about after she watched her boyfriend stab to death?
You're out of your mind. Flemington, get off.
More bad takes from Harrington.
Oh my God.
Do you think she was like, well,
get back on.
I know my boyfriend just got stabbed, but I don't want another black man to go to prison for 30 years because that just happened. No.
Oh my.
She's so long left that like her brain isn't even real. And I'm not saying, because I don't give a shit, like far right, far left, they're all crazy.
Yes.
But like they don't even have a genuine thought of their own. It's like even after watching her boyfriend get stabbed, like her brain can't get out of like this fucking super wokeness,
overly woke PC bullshit that she's not traumatized and wants revenge and doesn't want a murderer walking the streets that could murder another innocent person, rather than perhaps I don't know what the words would be that I'm looking for, but just describe the guy rather than describe the guy and maybe create more prejudice towards the black community, right? I guess that was her danger. And by the way, I'm in no position to speak about this being a white guy.
Black. Just say that. That's
black.
He's a black male. Way, just say that.
Doesn't matter. We've all seen the video.
Right. We all know that.
He was black. Say it.
Yeah.
6'2", skinny guy. I'll tell you right now, he was wearing a champion branded sweater. I'll fucking.
I mean, it'd be one thing if she was like, I don't fucking know, some black guy had a whole pocket full of fried chicken and had a bottle of Kool-Aid and a knife. Like, that's not like
goddamn hoodlums.
Yeah, I don't know. He fucking didn't pay his child support. Like, it's not like you're fucking going off about. See, I can say that shit, but
you can say that shit. That's why I'm like,
it's not like it's that would be prejudicial. Like that would be, expanding on some prejudices, whatever that fucking word is.
Prejudices.
Prejudices. There we go.
Die.
Do I?
Prejudice.
Yeah. I mean, that would be expanding on it. But the
phenomenon known as
prejudice.
Anyway, yeah.
I mean, that would be something that would be weird. But just describe the guy. He's whatever his height, weight, the color of his skin, and is it a male or a female? It's pretty simple.
And describe him to the best of your ability, because listen, regardless of
6'2",
whatever political agenda that you have, whatever kind of indoctrinated nonsense you have going on in your mind, surely that the want and desire for a dangerous, murderous piece of shit wandering the streets of New York City and stabbing innocent people, good, honest people that are sitting there. They've been to a wedding. They were posing no threat to anybody. And he stabbed your fella to death. Don't you want to see that guy come off the streets? What if that was two women walking down the street that he was going to rape and murder? Some children. You never know where this can end. That guy was a seriously messed up individual. But rather than, I don't know, just to stick to this nonsense that she's got going on in her head, that she's been seeing online or whatever website she looks at.
Oh my God. I bet her the group of people that she hangs out with. Girl, you were so brave for sticking to. Hey, actually, Brian, I have a question.
I want Brian's take. I want to hear what Brian came on for. So sorry, and then ask your question.
No, you're good.
Say the question.
Oh, well, Harrington just put in the chat that her and her family have a GoFundMe nearing 100K, and it's not to cover funeral expenses or any of that other stuff. It's so they can take time off of work to go grieve. And I think that's a little bit of an overreach of the system here. A little bit. Brian, come back.
Just quickly on that GoFundMe thing. I remember the question. The GoFundMe thing. So they're taking the 100K to take time off and grieve. Okay, and I'm sure they do need to do that. I'm sure it's very tough, but I'm sure she could have a house over her head without the 100,000. But the GoFundMe thing, right? I feel that is abused and manipulated and taken advantage of massively. And it's really sad to say, because I'm sure it is born out of good intentions. But there's GoFundMe's popping up for everything all the time. Do you know what I mean?
How many GoFundMe links end up in your DMs?
Oh my God, so many.
Constant, me too.
Constantly. Someone loses a shoe. We're doing a GoFundMe because old Johnny down the street has lost his shoes. We've made 97,000 expensive shoes.
I needed $150.
Yeah. Was he stabbed because he was a far left activist, or just happens to be?
It was a nutter on the street. It was like the dude, like if you listen to the video, the guy's just yelling, going nutty. He attacked somebody else. They like walk over to see what is happening or like what they can do to help. And this dude was,
where was it?
It was in New York City somewhere.
Have
you not seen the video?
I believe it was Brooklyn.
Yeah, I seen the video. I just didn't know exactly where it was.
They were sitting at the bus stop and they're just minding their own business, and he just starts lunging at them, starts talking shit. So they stand up and he's like trying to keep him away. And in the end, stabs him.
What would you do in that situation if you did see someone, Mike, and they were, or even Brian? Like, what would you guys do if you see someone, he's assaulting someone else? Like, do you do the same thing? Would you walk over and see what's going on?
Well, and this is, and I've had this conversation. It's not like I'm trying to sound like a tough guy, but I just think the way I am, the way my mind works, and it's not that I'm trying to be tough. And of course, and I would advise most people not to get involved. But I don't think I couldn't do that. I couldn't just walk away. And so certainly, if I saw,
I could either.
No, this, you know,
think I could walk
innocent parties that can't look after themselves, that can't defend themselves, having some guy with a goddamn knife. And of course, the last thing you want to do, and of course, I think about my family and I think about my children, and that always comes first, you know. And I think back to when I was punched in the face in New Orleans, you know what I mean? But that was nothing. It didn't even hurt. So at that point, I'm like, we're not in any danger here, whatever. I'm only going to escalate things by reacting. So I walked away and I laughed and I made a YouTube video about it. And by the way, oh my God, we'll get to it in a minute. He's been in touch. He's been sending Rebecca DMs.
Stop it.
And Harrington, we'll get to that in a minute. We'll get to that. Yeah, he has. Oh my God, I just forgot all about it last week.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, but if it's a serious situation like that, of course, I think I would, sadly.
See,
Yeah,
well,
I don't think I would be able to walk away either. And even knowing that the smartest thing would be to walk
don't
away.
show it, man.
I'm not going to show. I'm going to show. I'm going to close it before the violence happens. But like,
look.
Oh, he's over there kicking someone's ass.
Oh, all right. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, he was kicking someone.
And then
But look at that. You can see they've been to a wedding. They're walking down the street, the civilized members of society, regardless of the woke ideologies that they have, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're walking down the street. The human beings, they're dressed nicely. They've been for a nice, sophisticated night. They're all dressed up. And that's how it goddamn ends. And
that's crazy.
It shouldn't be like that in a modern society. It should not be like that. And I tell you what, I mean, it's fucking wild the way the world is going. The world is falling apart, man. It is.
Everywhere. It's everywhere. It's not just New York. It's not just the West Coast. I mean, it's fucking dangerous everywhere. Like Denver, I obviously I've talked about this a couple times. Like, I know I fucked up. I brought the gun through the fucking airport, but it's because I always have it on me because like places are getting so sketchy. Mm-hmm. Even the really nice places, they're getting sketchy.
I don't blame you. And it's the same in the UK, by the way. I'm not just singling out. I'm not talking about the States. I'm talking about everywhere.
The world.
You know, I put the news on in the morning and I flick through all the channels. I watch them all. The only one I don't watch, which I get all the time, is CNN. I don't watch that shit. That's the only one I don't watch. I go through them all. I go through the international stuff because I want to see what's going on around the world. And it's insane. And it's just, I mean, I guess it's always been like that. And that is what the news shows you. But if you look online as well and you see just the sadness and just the desperation and the, you know, the world seems to be falling apart. The economies, the systems in place, it's just all going.
It's just sad. It's sad. It's sad. The whole thing is just sadness. The whole thing.
So
I had to stop watching it.
Yeah, no, it is. I try not to watch it, but what else am I going to watch? I'm going to watch something. I'm going to find some excuse to not get out of bed. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
You know what I mean? It's like if I have another coffee and I watch some more news, I don't have to work out just yet. My day's the same every day. I get up at 6 a.m. I drink a gallon of coffee. Look at my phone. I do my emails, do a bit of communication here, there, and everywhere. Flick through the news channels, and then, all right, well, I'll go work out. And then I get on with my day. All right, this show is sponsored by BetterHelp. And BetterHelp, of course, offers professional counseling done securely online. And it's very, very important these days that you take in charge of your mental health. We've talked about this a lot. People are going through a lot of things right now. The world has never been harder just to get by. Just to have a roof over your head and have an income is incredibly tough, incredibly stressful. You might be going through, I don't know what your issue is, but anger issues, anxiety, medication, alcohol, substance abuse, whatever it is, BetterHelp is the most convenient way to start therapy. So give it a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. You just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime, by the way, if you're not feeling the vibe, for no additional charge. No getting in your car. You literally just go to the website, betterhelp.com/believe. You will get 10% off your first month. You can start your journey towards a better you. Live the life you always wanted to live. Realize your full potential. Share your problems with a licensed professional by going to betterhelp.com/believe to get 10% off your first month. betterhelp.com/believe. Right. We haven't got too much time tonight because Anthony is in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Brian's going to get the podcast up. And we've done about 90 minutes. So we're going to do some questions now to finish off the show as always. And for all those people, don't worry. Twice a week, Mondays, Thursdays, the BYM pod is back.
Ooh, hold on.
Oh,
I'm going to be out Monday. I'm having a procedure.
Well, I won't be out Monday.
I'll tell you about it afterwards. But
A dick extension, you finally doing it?
you knew.
I do it. I've seen you about. I've heard the rumors. I was speaking to Mark Montoya. He was like, he told me.
He's just a little guy.
Well, don't worry. I'll be here. We've got Mohammed Makhachev as well. And we'll have another guest. We'll get 2 or 3 guests on. Lots of guests Monday because Anthony's getting a procedure.
I'm getting a
What is it?
procedure. Dick extension.
Yeah, good lad. So if you have a question, send it in to bympod@gmail.com.
And if you're listening on Spotify, wherever you find podcasts, make sure to subscribe, leave us a 5-star rating, positive review. Really helps out on those platforms. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the channel and you hit that notification bell to find out whenever a new episode drops. And if you want to catch over 400 episodes you can't find anywhere else, completely ad-free and totally uncensored, head to gasdigital.com. Use the promo code BYM, get yourself a 7-day free trial. Check out over 20 great shows on the network.
Well said by Sir Mike Flemington.
All right. So the first question we got here today is from LL.
G'day, BYM crew. Got a quick question for you. UFC offers sports psychologists. How about financial advisors? Where do you get your financial advice from? Thanks.
Oh, bloody hell, mate. It's a bloody Sheila. It's a bloody Sheila. She's coming on here. Hello, BYM. Financial advice. Listen, they do give sports psychologists, and that's a very important weapon to have, especially in this day and age with all the anxiety and people that can't get their shit together, right? But in terms of financial advice, Anthony, where'd you get your financial advice? That was bad.
Started with just friends. Like I got some friends that are super, super successful, and then just point you in the right direction, and then, like my management team has a pretty good handle on some financial advisors and companies. So yeah, that's where I got it. Started with friends that were really successful though.
You don't follow all those motivational Instagram pages, like wealth and stuff like that. And all you got to do, guys, is follow this, rent out Airbnbs, and over 12 months I built $5 million net worth. Have you seen all these fucking pages? Do you know what I'm talking about? All
the really successful people I know don't have time to even be on social media because they're too busy like building businesses and making money. Like I feel like sometimes those people are like, you're on Instagram too much to be making as much money as you say you are.
Well, that's how they make money though, because that's their thing.
Right.
Kind of like, for example, an extreme example of that would be Andrew Tate. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And he has that Hustlers University, and that's all through social media because they get people to sign up. But whatever. To answer the question, and thank you very much. As you said, through management, I was with Paradigm Sports Management, Audie Attar, shout out Audie, hope you're well. Through them, they put me in contact with, obviously you got to hire people, you know what I mean? So I used to have a really good accountant back in the UK, shout out Gary. But out here, Stanley is my business manager, and I would be lost without him. So he takes care of all that side of things, not just the accounting and taxes and stuff like that. That obviously he does that stuff, but yeah, he's my business manager, and everything that I do runs through him. And he invests the money and the savings that I've had through my UFC career, and what other little ventures and stuff I have, and he makes my money work for me, because obviously you don't want to leave your money sitting in a bank account. It's certainly with inflation these days, you're losing a lot of money every single year. If it's sitting in the bank, you're losing money, period. So you got to make your money work for you, but you got to know what to do. We're good at punching and kicking and choking people out. So investments and stuff like that, I wasn't skilled. I'm still not, but I'm learning as I go along. But I'm very, very lucky that I was introduced to the right people. And certainly now I have someone around me that I trust with my life and trust with my family fortune. It's not a fortune, but it's my family. It's my nest egg for when I retire. And he makes it work for me. So yeah, you got to have good people around you.
You do. Totally agree.
unless you study. But bloody hell, Sheila, thanks for the question.
Thanks for the question. Yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, mate. Flemington. Brian. What else we got, mate? Did you ever see the movie Never Ending Story?
Of course.
No.
The accent now turned into, you know, I think it's a snail. Is it a snail? Little tiny snail at the beginning when she first goes in, and there's that little snail with like the Cockney accent. My accent turned into that. If you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm on about?
Here it's like a big monster snail.
Yeah. No, not that thing. Not that thing. Hey, Rebecca, come here, quick.
It's snails.
Rebecca, quick, run fast,
sprint,
go faster. Never come over here. Yeah, it's all right. Never ending story. What is it? Is it a snail? Come over here. Say hi to the boys.
It's the worm.
Oh, it's the worm. But what does he say? Describe the scene into the microphone.
She's trying to find her way into the Goblin City, and
it's her favorite film.
She asked if the worm knows where to go, and the worm does know where to go. But the worm didn't know that she wants to go to the Goblin City. The worm thought that she doesn't want to go to the Goblin City. Anyway, he goes, yeah, I'm all right.
Yeah, I'm all right. Yes, all right.
Come and have a cup of tea with the missus.
Come and have a cup of tea with the missus.
Anthony's got no idea what we're talking about.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen the Never-Ending Story. Oh, sorry. Here you go. You've never seen the Never-Ending Story?
It's not Never-Ending Story. It's the Labyrinth.
Oh, the Labyrinth.
No, I've never seen it. I'm not a big movie person. That's what I get made fun of on here for all the time.
Do you want to know why?
Oh, hold on.
You're too young. That's why.
Anthony.
I am pretty young.
You're young. He's too young, babe.
This guy? Yeah, that's it.
Oh, so cute.
The monster worm from Labyrinth. That's it. Anthony, your daughters. How old are they again?
They're 12, 9, 6, and 2.
See, this is the thing.
You have to show them the Labyrinth. They will love it.
Okay, well now I have to watch it with them.
I would watch it first.
No.
Why would you watch it first? Calm down.
He doesn't want to watch Labyrinth by himself.
Amazing.
And then
you like it, don't you?
Well, I can't watch. I don't want to watch it twice. I gotta watch it once
exactly.
with the
Your
kids.
daughters will love it. She's just gonna say they'll be scared because there's a little scene at the beginning where the puppets come alive.
Like,
and our daughter used to get scared. Watch it with the girls.
It's an 80s movie. Things were different in the 80s. That's all.
That's
I'm
okay.
say.
That's okay.
Watch Labyrinth with the girls. I'm telling you now. They will.
And then we'll do a review on Thursday.
Yes.
Yes.
There we go.
Now we're talking.
Yes.
No, I'm serious. Now I have to. I always say I'm going to watch all these movies, and I never do. But if I got one, I can watch
the Labyrinth with the girls. I'm telling you, it's a good film. It's a classic. It's a good,
watch it with your wife
wholesome movie to watch. If you have a movie night with the girls, with your wife.
So it'll be me and the kids watching it while my wife sleeps.
That's normally how it goes in our house. We watched the other day. Me and Lucas watched RoboCop.
I've seen RoboCop.
Yeah,
that.
Of course, you've seen RoboCop.
All she did was flick through the phone and was looking for a fucking birdcage the whole time.
It just came. It's so exciting.
Okay, see what I told you?
You have to send me. You have to post a picture of the cage now that everyone's going to hear about
I will. We're
because Mike told everybody.
Yeah.
Lucas wants to go get it like as soon as you're done here.
Oh, we will do, but I'm starving.
Oh God,
I'm starving. Get the steaks on now. We'll devour that. All right, we'll get dinner out.
Yeah.
We'll go buy a budgie.
We'll have to bring the budgie back. It might die while we're eating.
Yeah, and I might die if you stay on here any longer. So
you asked me in here.
Just give us the name of the bloody worm or the budgie or whatever it was called.
The worm or the budgie.
Well played, Brian. There's a budgie on screen. It's a bloody budgie. I love budgies, me. I love them. What else we got, Brian?
My wife hates birds. She's like terrified of birds. All birds.
We've had a lot of birds here in this house, and they've died a sticky death.
Really?
Yeah. Oh no!
You're gonna keep this one alive?
They all died.
All of them.
Sticky death.
What's a sticky death?
I don't even know.
Are their heads falling off?
they fell off one or two of them.
Oh man!
Oh shit!
Oh fuck!
All right. Question.
So next question we got is
a lot of wildlife around here. Let's just say that.
Joe from Jersey.
Okay.
Yo, what's up, Believe You Me podcast? This is Joseph from Jersey. First time listener, long time caller. No, other way around. So, question: if you had to increase the amount of finishes, if you can come up with a rule to increase the amount of finishes, what rule would you implement? I'm thinking first round 10 minutes, second round 5 minutes, old school pride rules. You'd see a ton of finishes in the first round. Bisping, if this is how you fought, or if these rules are in place when you were fighting, don't you think you'd finish a lot more dudes? What rule would you implement to get more finishes in the UFC?
Good question, Anthony.
I would go with knees to the head of a grounded opponent. Kicks to the head of a grounded opponent, probably. And I don't know that the round time would matter. Yeah, definitely 12 to 6 elbows. I would change that because I think that's just a silly rule in general. But I would probably implement finish bonuses. Because I fought in an organization on the regional scene that had finish bonuses, and their finishing rate was insane.
Really? Because I feel like fighters are looking for the finish most of the time. Sure, some people might develop a game plan where, they're going to try and not put themselves in harm's way and try and out-strategize them and counter them and stuff like that. So I guess it might influence it a little bit. I think a 10-minute first round would help because a lot of people are going to start getting tired. And then, as I always say, when you get tired, you start to make mistakes. And the guy that's in better shape, who's not getting tired, he's got a better chance of finishing you. So I do like that. However, I'm not lobbying it for it to be a rule because it would have, that's why this organization or the sport, was built to popularity in the first place, and why we have jobs and had careers, because the unified rules of mixed martial arts, we can't start changing them. I would like to see, and I do believe they just implemented this, although it's not being used or enforced by the referees enough. When they clinch against the fence, they've got to break that shit earlier. They got to break that up earlier, man. And I know now that there needs to be a hard and fast, and I know they're working towards a single leg or whatever. But regardless, they need to say, right, in that you got 30 seconds. You got 30 seconds against that. You got 30 seconds. If you can't do it in 30 seconds, then we're breaking you and go back to the violence.
If you can't do it in 30 seconds, you're probably not going to get it.
Exactly. And you see, and no disrespect, it's a lot of the lower level guys. And I'll just be honest, and a lot of female fighters as well that don't necessarily have the strength or don't have the wrestling acumen. You know what I mean? Because they learn through mixed martial arts training, but they don't have that wrestling ability to be able to finish it. And as you say, you can learn the underhook game and the defensive game. Defending a takedown, you can pick that up pretty quickly and how to do it. Get the wizard, turn your hips, fight for underhooks and all the rest of it. And you end up in a 50-50 situation. And you can be there for almost a full round. And I've seen full rounds sometimes. And I'm like, what is going on here?
Which would suck if it was 10 minutes long.
That would suck. But that would be my thing. 30 seconds against the fence. Not on the ground. That's a little bit different. You're on the ground, but just leaning up against the goddamn fence. And by the way, don't put your clickbait headlines. Bisping says women fighters can't wrestle. Yes, they can. There's some tremendous talent. There's a lot of men that can't fucking wrestle either as well. Do you know what I'm saying? So it goes both ways.
It does.
Jesus Christ. I was one of them. We got one more, Bri?
We do have one more. This one's from a regular contributor here, Doug Norton.
All right.
Hi, guys. So my question is for Mike and for Anthony. Obviously, UFC is getting more and more popular by the month, it seems like. And I sometimes wonder if it could actually make it onto mainstream TV. But then I hear commentary like this.
She had a crazy youth. Actually said the first time she used jiu-jitsu was choking out a meth head in a nightclub.
Unlikely to make it onto the BBC, I'd imagine. But it got me thinking about commentary. You guys are fantastic commentators. Has there ever been a time where you've made a massive gaffe and you thought, I shouldn't have said that? Or you've heard another commentator say something and you thought, that's hilarious, but probably not appropriate for live TV? I'd love to know about your experiences with that.
Cheers, mate. I do believe we've had some, but it is on mainstream TV in America.
Yeah, I was going to say here it is for sure. I'm going to go ahead and steal it. I'm going to
ABC.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and steal the first part of this one, Mike. I'm sorry. That part of the commentary it's not Michael's fault for say, like, that's the true story. So like the type of people that come through mixed martial arts are different types of people. Like when you're talking about college football players going into the NBA, you're talking about college, basketball players or baseball players going on to the pros. These people have been special their whole lives. They started in pee-wee sports, and they started in club sports as kids, and then then people realized that they were special. And then they go on to high school, and they're special there, and then they get recruited to Division I school. They've been treated like special humans from the time they were kids. It's happening to my oldest daughter right now, and she's almost 12 years old. She's a kid, and she's already being treated differently because of how good she is at a sport. So MMA is not like that. Like, of course, you got your random Division I wrestler that comes in and does well, like your Bo Nichols, but name people that have got the type of hype and life that Bo Nichols does. Because right now, off the top of my head, I can only think of a handful. So we come from different areas. I didn't graduate high school. I didn't go to college. I wasn't special. I wasn't a standout in anything. Those are the type of people we get in this sport. So our stories are different. Our stories are different. Our upbringings are different. Our backgrounds are different. A lot of us, none of us, let's just be honest here. None of us became MMA fighters because being brain surgeons wasn't going to be exciting enough for us. Trust me, if we had better things I'm trying to tiptoe around this. If we had better opportunities earlier on in life, we probably wouldn't have ended up here. But we made the most of something that we were already good at and the athletic ability that we were given with. But our fucking stories are terrible. A lot of us have terrible stories. And it's getting better as the sport is growing and it's becoming more mainstream and kids are getting into mixed martial arts younger. And so it's changing. But early on, especially in my generation and definitely Mike's, we didn't end up here because we had a whole bunch of opportunities and this is just the one we chose. Some of it's just where we ended up and we made the most of it.
I'm very well said.
The first person she choked out probably was a meth head, and a fact a meth head. Probably because of her lifestyle and her upbringing or where she lived and the toughness that she came up in. I'm not going to change the fucking story to make it sound good on TV. That's the truth. That's just how it is. Are you going to try to sugarcoat Mike Perry's background and upbringing because you don't want it to sound weird on the BBC? The BBC. Here's his fucking story.
Fuck the BBC.
Fuck the BBC. Here's the fucking story. Here's their upbringing. And this is what happened in her life and got her to this moment on ESPN Plus, which is pretty mainstream for me.
And it's pretty goddamn amazing story as well. And just to give a bit of background there, I forget her name. That was the lady that won the Ultimate Fighter or was in the Ultimate Fighter finale. I think she won it. I forget her name now. And but I do remember the story because the first time I spoke to her, I said, how did you get into it? She used to do security at a nightclub in San Diego. And this meth head came in one night, and it was after the club had finished. The music was done. The DJ had turned all the music off and the cleaning up and all the rest of it. And there was some cracked out dude but he's starting a fight. And he was beating someone else. She jumped on his back and she choked him out. And in her words, she choked out a meth head. Do you know what I mean? And I'm sorry, sir, if that term isn't fitting to your chosen vocabulary. I'm sorry that if it didn't, what would you prefer? So, the first time that she choked somebody out was somebody that had a very hard deal in life and was challenged by this certain type of society that he was raised in, and given the circumstances chose to a life of drugs and despair, and upon such an evening found himself in an establishment where DJs play music and security people work. On this occasion, she had no choice but to employ a little jiu-jitsu, which is actually a term meaning the gentle art, where you use one's power against themselves. No, she choked out a fucking meth head.
I wish you would have said that, though.
She choked out a fucking meth head, okay? Right. Get over it, bro. And it is mainstream. And it's on BT Sport or TNT Sports. That's a pretty mainstream channel in the UK as well. Thank you for the question, though.
He always has good questions, though.
Yeah, he does.
He always has good questions. Thank you for the question.
I was trying to find some better term of putting that. How would be a comical way of labeling a meth head?
I don't know. A person who self-medicates.
A drug addict? Would that be better?
A meth head.
Choked out a drug addict. Well, I'm giving you more information. I got to paint the picture.
The drug of choice.
The drug of choice.
I'm fine with it.
It wasn't she wasn't an opioid addict.
Right.
It wasn't a heroin addict. Heroin addict would be a
wasn't a weed head.
Wasn't, hey man, bro.
It's because weed heads aren't getting choked out.
Meth head was going mental, trying to scratch everyone's eyeballs out. She had to choke him out. She saved some life. That woman's a hero.
She's a hero.
She's a legend in the area of San Diego, which, by the way, means a whale's vagina.
San Diego does?
San Diego
means a whale's vagina.
Yeah, did you not know?
You just made that up.
Anthony, Anchorman, bro.
Oh no!
Oh God! You've never seen.
I was like, you made that up. What the fuck are you talking about?
San Diego. Oh yes, a whale's vagina, and then says no, it doesn't mean that. And he goes, and he says, well, scholars say, and she says, no, it means Saint Diego. I said, well, let's just agree to disagree. It's fucking hilarious. Anyway, there it is. Thank you for the questions, everyone. Keep the questions coming. That was a good one, though. That was a good one. Fights this weekend. We didn't even talk about them. Good luck on the desk. Have a great show as always, Anthony. Always love watching your breakdowns and your analysis. Grant Dawson, Bobby Green, going to be a great fight.
Yep.
That's a tough one to call. Anyway, any words for the believers after a 2 weeks 2-show absence? Yeah, sorry. You can, if you could send all your hate mail and anger to Harrington, that would be great. Flemington.
Flemington.
You can send me cash. I'm setting up a GoFundMe.
Jesus Christ.
I'll set up a GoFundMe.
Send us money. Send Harrington hate. Appreciate you guys. And I'll see you next Thursday because I am out on Monday. So Mike will be here. I wonder if we did a GoFundMe. If we did a GoFundMe for us just having to endure Sir Flemington. Oh, we should start one. Would people put it in the comments if you would donate to our GoFundMe for us having to deal with Harrington. Flemington. Do a Patreon. Everyone's doing it. Anyway, that's it. That's the show. Thanks for supporting us. Take care. Have a good weekend. See you soon.